want you to know that even if you are the primary income earner and the provider in your home, you can still create a new life for yourself. Hi everyone, it is Tina with Picture It Personal Finance, and I love working with people to help them get their money life in order so that they can do away with the stress and anxiety in their life and start to pursue the life that they really want. A few weeks ago, I posted a video about FIRE, Financial Independence Retire Early, and how, while I believe that financial independence should be the American dream for everyone, I want to change the retire early into the idea of recreational employment. This is something that I feel very strongly about after having worked a corporate career that in the beginning I was super into it, but I can honestly tell you that for the last 7 years of that career, my heart drifted further and further away from what I was doing. I was the girl that was climbing the corporate ladder, and I was the primary income earner in my household. And when I realized that I didn't want to do that job anymore, I was terrified to leave, utterly fearful that it would be the demise of my home. We took a 60% pay decrease when I left that corporate job, and that weighed very heavily on me. I am enough of a numbers person that I knew that was going to be the case before I left. So if you are the primary income earner in your home or the sole provider, but you know you're trapped in a job that you absolutely don't want anymore, and you know that you either want to start your own business or shift into a totally different career, this video is for you. I want you first and foremost to know that it's possible. You are not trapped. You just have to plan properly. And frankly, there's 3 simple steps to this plan as well. And each one of them is kind of loaded. I mean, they will take a significant amount of work to figure out. Sorry, that's not true. They won't take a significant amount of work to figure out. It'll just be a bit of work to figure out one of them. And then the rest of them, it's going to be about kind of like setting the stage and doing what needs to be done. And that can take a bit of time. So for me, when I finally realized like I absolutely cannot do this anymore, it was 2015. It took until 2020. I left my corporate job in 2020. So it essentially took 5 years for me to fulfill this plan. Now, that being said, I was kind of winging it along the way. I was learning as I went. So if you can do it much more quickly, I believe you can do it much more quickly by being very focused on what your specific goals are and then pursuing the ends to meet those goals in a much more straightforward fashion than I did. And step 1 for that is to get your money life in order by reducing your expenses. If you are the primary income earner and you're about to take a significant pay cut or even go without pay for a while, the best thing that you can do is reduce your expenses. And I'll be honest with you guys, I say it all the time. The best way to reduce your expenses is to get rid of your debt payments. Pay off your credit cards, pay off your cars. If you have the ability, pay off your friggin' house. Do this, and you will feel so much more comfortable in being able to take a significant pay decrease. And frankly, if you do this, before you have to take that pay decrease, you can build up a tremendous amount of savings. So there's 2 ways of reducing your expenses. Like I said, get rid of the debt. That's probably one of the best ways that I can recommend. And it's probably the most security producing one, knowing that you don't have those payments any longer. And then secondarily, I would say get rid of the fluff. Get rid of all the extras that you don't actually really need. I mean, I have helped people find so many things that they are paying for that they don't even realize they're paying for. I had one person who had a subscription to Fabletics, which is like a clothing subscription, that they had been subscribing to it for over a year and hadn't gotten a single article of clothing because they kept forgetting to go into the website and request which leggings they wanted. And in the end, forgot that they even had the subscription going. I have had people who have multiple streaming services. I'm talking Sling, Netflix, Prime, Hulu. I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there. They're paying for all of these, but it turns out that their kids only ever watch Disney Plus and they watch everything on YouTube. So knowing that, you can see how you can quickly start to reduce these things. And I know that it might only be $15 here, $20 there, but when you start to add these things up between reducing debt and then getting rid of all the excess fluff that you're not even using, you can save hundreds of dollars a month. Yeah, for sure, hundreds. Just thinking it through. I know for a fact people who save hundreds of dollars every month. And that doesn't even get me started on things like calling your internet provider. We went from one internet provider who paid $130 a month, and now we pay $60 a month for better internet connectivity. It's absolutely possible. Look for the opportunities to reduce your expenses, okay? That is step one. Step two is figure out where you want to go with your career shift, right? So if you are the primary income earner or the provider for your home and you know you want to make a transition, you have got to get the details of what that transition will take. For example, I knew that I wanted to leave corporate and I knew that I wanted to become a financial coach. I did some research and I realized that most companies take a couple years to get to the point of making a living wage. And I found out that the average financial coach makes about $46,000 a year. Now, this was off of Google, and frankly, I looked that up several years ago, so it has probably changed. And I know that I'm well above average, so I have every expectation of blowing those income limits out of the water. But realistically, I thought to myself, like, I've never run my own business before. I gave myself 2 years to get to the point where I was making the average amount of money in revenues. And I'm glad I did, because I've been right on target for that, and I've had a lot of learning and growing to do along the way. I have worked with other people who have decided that they want to shift from technology to nursing. I don't know why, but I seem to see that transition happen a lot. And so they have to then plan for going to school, figuring out what's required in order to make sure that their education is paid for, figuring out what their starting salaries are as a nurse. I worked with another client who wanted to leave their corporate environment and become an electrician. There's a lot that goes into that. Electricians can make great money, but they have to go through apprenticeship. So understanding what is the amount of time it takes to complete that apprenticeship, what education requirements are out there. How long will you be living off of a reduced or no income? You need to prepare for that. Once you have a plan on what it will take and how long it will take for you to earn the income in the new career path that you want, you move on to step number 3, which is building your runway account. I don't think this is a technical term, but I call it a runway account. And this is essentially the account that you build up. It's a savings account that you want it to be liquid cash. You do not want it in the market because you want to make sure that it is there for you to pull from regularly. And this essentially becomes your, you treat it like it's your bucket of money that represents your paycheck, okay? So what you do is you build up this account for however long it's gonna take you. So let's say it's gonna take you 2 years to get your business up and running. You wanna reduce your expenses down as much as you can, step 1. You wanna have your plan to build that timeline, you know it's 2 years. Then you wanna say, okay, if my spouse can produce 40% of what it costs for us to live our lifestyle, then I'm going to rely on her to continue to, or him to continue to do that 40%. But I need to have a runway account or a savings bucket that will cover the 60% for those 2 years. So just for the sake of round numbers, let's say you and your spouse both put in 50%, 50%. You split the living expenses right down the middle. You and your spouse agree that your job is killing you and you're going to move on and you're going to do something that is passionate about, that you feel has great earning potential down the road, but it's going to take you 3 years to do that. If your lifestyle is $50,000 a year and you need to be able to cover 3 years of your half of that, essentially you need to have $75,000 in savings. I know that feels like a lot. And frankly, it can be a lot for a lot of people, but it's possible, it's absolutely doable, and you have what it takes. The more that you can reduce your expenses, the smaller that runway account needs to be. But you have the ability to work out the math, reverse engineer what it's gonna take, and then set that money aside so that you have that there. I have talked in other videos about my own experience. I really feel like God conspires for your success when you go out and you walk in faith. And I will say this because we built a runway account. I ended up, like I mentioned previously, we took a 60% pay decrease when I left my corporate position. We had our runway account. It has been 2 years since I've left my corporate job and we have yet to touch the runway account. We were able to sufficiently reduce our expenses to such a degree that we could live off of the money that my husband made. And where I feel like God came in and helped us out is that he then has received 2 promotions or 2 pay increases in the time that I was gone that helped cover that gap. So in other words, he's making more money than what we expected. We have our runway account, this bucket of money that's there to help give me the comfort and the security I needed in order to let go of my corporate paycheck. and I am already at the point where I'm running a profitable business. It is possible for you, and I am living evidence of that. I hope that that is pretty clear and cut and dry, but I want you to know that even if you are the primary income earner and the provider in your home, you can still create a new life for yourself by either starting your business or by shifting your career. It's as simple as 3 steps. Again, step 1 is reduce your expenses. Step 2 is have a plan and understand how long it's going to take for you to reproduce your income or what your new income will be. And then step 3 is to build up that runway account. I know you can do it. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye for now.